And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 90th episode of Game Theory Gang. I'm Matty Allen with ChrispyMan of hexfire.io and our special guest today, KG of internetmoney.io. Welcome.
Hey guys. Hey everybody.
Hello.
We got a great episode for tonight, so make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. We got plenty of people watching live on Tuesday nights. This is the 158th week in a row. I've been streaming every Tuesday and Thursday night, and we have thousands on the replay. So glad everybody's here today. And yeah, so guys, what's been happening?
What is happening? What hasn't been happening?
We got a super chat from Future Us in the comments. Shouldn't ignore that because he's
What up?
part of the brains behind Time Pays Me. Thank you for the New Zealand $20. And you said, "What up?" Not much. What's up with you?
What is up? Well, I guess the big news. Hey, that's from Future Us. Thank you, Future Us.
I guess
want to go ahead and
what is up is, I guess in line with the title of the show is Power City just launched, which
right. You feel the power? I feel the power. I do.
Oh man, I'm electrified.
Electrifying.
Which is really big for the ecosystem because all of what people might consider the core projects that held sacrifice phases have now come to fruition. So that is really bullish, I think, for the overall ecosystem in terms of confidence amongst the community.
Well, KG, you're like somebody who's contributed a lot to the community in the sense that you're not just a builder, but also a leader of other builders and stuff. And so, I'm glad you're coming on this week as we point this out that all of the sacrifice, just like you said, all the major sacrifices they've launched. So does that mean up only? I'm not sure, but it could.
Well,
never know.
Oh, you don't mean the token. Gotcha.
Oh no.
Up only. Right.
It's a saying in crypto.
It's a saying. Got it. Well, it's certainly another milestone we needed to hit, right? One way or another, we needed to resolve the fact that there were open projects. There's probably some we're not aware of, right?
Sure.
But yeah, it's the biggest one I know of that's out there. And so excited to see that go. Man, this phase of crypto is the waiting, right? It's the hardest part, so they say. Right, because we just gotta make it through. And hey, listen, I feel the pressure just like everybody else. You got to try to make it through this period of time. Otherwise, you're selling right before things potentially go like up and rocket. At least from the past. That's what we're saying.
I mean, that 4-year cycle is something, isn't it?
It's different this time, Matty. It's longer and shorter at the same time, and it's
nothing is ever different.
It's going to be it's reverse trend. So
you should always question when people say this time is different. They're usually trying to sell you something that's bad for you.
I know. Yeah, but we all fall for it every time. So it doesn't matter. By the time you get into
this time's different. You've got my attention now.
Yeah. By the time we're in the bowl. You like everything going up so fast. That's right. Take my money. let's do we'll call it. I don't know. We'll use a different name. We'll call them sacrifices, but we'll have to do something else at the end, right? Right when we know we've already hit the top and it's only down from here. That's when we'll take everybody's money, right? And we'll say, "I'm not." It's a joke, by the way.
I mean,
that's a joke.
Don't clip it.
Yeah, there's a reason for outrage marketing, and it's to prevent too much of a blow off top.
Yeah, I say it tongue in cheek because this is what happens every time, right? I mean, Yeah, you can go back and you don't even have to take my word for it. Go back and look at X, look at Twitter, go look at the Reddits if they're not deleted, right? And the YouTubes, you find the same thing every time. And we were sitting in there in January in some of the chats of 22, talking about how we were going to hit another top. You know,
Sure.
and
Yeah. But
so
that wasn't different. We were
yeah, what?
thinking like, oh, this, Hex could top before and after Bitcoin. And it
That's
was
right.
like,
That's right.
dude, it could have if there weren't so many sacrifice phases for other stuff. And if people,
No,
weren't
I don't.
thinking so
I
much
don't.
about other things.
You might
But
be right.
yeah,
It might be different this time. You might
it
be
had
right.
to come down. Yeah, you can't stay at an all-time high forever. That's not how
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
And the 4-year cycle, I mean, it's quite shocking how similar it is each time.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and it's not. And I'm joking around a little bit here, but yes, yes. I mean, of course, things aren't exactly the same all the time. So they are different, but there's a lot out there right now. It's the same but different. I thought about maybe starting a hobby right now, going through and collecting all the people's names and all their predictions for the 500K, the 600K Bitcoins that I'm seeing, and just at least mark them down to take, get the receipts, you
Uh-huh.
know,
That's a really
so
good
that
idea.
either we can congratulate them when we find out they're right, or be able to use that information a little bit better about maybe this time isn't different next time. What isn't different every time is that there's always some narrative about why new people should be buying the top. There's
Mm.
always a narrative about that.
Because they're early.
That's right. You're
And
early.
because this time it's different.
You're early. 8 more years. 8 more years. 8 more years. Well, yeah, and hey, listen, it's still, I still, even though I shouldn't call it say a believer, I can understand why people believe in Bitcoin right now. I can. I mean, damn,
Tell us.
you're up almost, if you had been doing Bitcoin since 2019 and, have been DCing in from the same time that Hex had launched, you'd be in the green right now. You're in the black. You'd be
From
up
2019?
from
Oh yeah.
2019, and you would have gone up.
When it
You would have
was
gone up
when it was
twice.
when it was when it went sideways at $6,000 forever.
Yeah, well, you could have bought it at 3,000 right before then too, right? And
Yeah.
3,000 on the COVID dip,
Or
right? And
4,000. Yeah.
or but close to that anyways. But I mean, all those things are possible. And so from coming from TradFi perspective, that's pretty damn good, man. That's pretty damn good. Better than you can get in the market guaranteed for a lot of products. So
So and I probably agree with this. What you're saying is the reason that people believe in Bitcoin right now is because it went up.
It's a big
yes,
reason, absolutely.
green candles.
Got it.
And I think a lot of people use Bitcoin too. I've been going to a lot of crypto conferences, and a lot of the time, I mean, you just end up talking about Bitcoin. That's what most crypto people are into. It seems like an anti-American hedge too, that people use it as. When they lose confidence in the US dollar, they hedge into Bitcoin because it transcends the US dollar. So I see a lot of that going on as well. And so Bitcoin can be really cool in that respect. And we can see pumps when people start to lose, confidence in their government and things like that. And I think there's a lot of fear in America right now about the direction of the country. And so, and I'm not trying to go down a political rabbit hole, but I do think that has some correlation on price.
Oh,
Yeah, I
100%.
mean, that's one reason why people claim that they buy Bitcoin is because the dollar is doomed. I don't think the dollar's doomed, but I think Bitcoin's pretty cool, so that's nice. And yeah, I mean, it's funny. You mentioned conferences because there's a number of Hexicans that I know that like Funding Jim have pointed out, Walrus, other people have pointed out that when they went to the Hex meetup at the Bitcoin conference that I hosted this past year in Miami, everybody at the Bitcoin conference was asking about PulseChain.
Mm. I was there with them for that. I did have several PulseChain conversations at Bitcoin Miami.
Okay,
I,
boom. Yes,
yep.
yes. And so yeah, so you got to see that maybe maybe it's because PulseChain's so awesome. Maybe it's because I timed it perfectly. But then again, I didn't schedule like when the Bitcoin conference was, so I guess I can't take too much credit for it coinciding with the launch of PulseChain. But that was good timing nonetheless. And
Perfect timing.
hey, we got
Hey.
another superstar here in the chat, Axis Alive.
Axis. What's up, brother?
Axis who? Oh, we know him.
He's questioning
Axis
the
Alive.
thumbnail. Is there something I don't know?
Your liquidity partner, Crispy.
Oh, I think he's being funny too about the SACs.
Okay.
About the SACs, we should
So they are.
do it
They
backwards.
are over.
Woo. Hello, Axis. Yeah. There he is. That's my train of thought. Oh, you
Till
know
next
those
cycle, I guess.
Hey, you know those guys that you met down the Bitcoin conferences and they were asking about Pulse? They're going to remember in 6 years how they missed out. That's what I think. They're going to be like, man, I could have had that sweet Pulse way under a penny.
And Whales only and Johnny Chaos, they're going to be there to remind them. Done told you.
I done told you. I done told you.
They had a particularly good clip this week on Westcott's show.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Johnny said he missed Bitcoin at a penny because he didn't realize how good it would be. And Whales had a similar story where he missed Ethereum at the Genesis launch, knew about it, decided not to go in when ETH was 30 cents. So
yeah.
These are the guys that are not going to miss crypto a second time, which is why it seems that they believe so much in Hex and PulseChain. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I do. I discuss a lot of stuff with Axis Alive, about the market and about things, his observations and stuff. And of course, I'm not a TA guy like he is, right? I don't have that particular set of skills. I know enough to get into trouble. But as we're describing it and talking about it, he and I and Chaos and you and Whales. I don't want to speak for KG, but I think you're bullish on Hex. We're all looking at the ecosystem. We're like, you can't see. Maybe there's something I don't know. We can't see how this is not going to be something that's going to take the market by storm, and it may take some time. And it may still take time to get there because it's always going to run in cycles, but it's such a common theme because I'm looking at DeFi and what's going on. And no, anyways, I'm just like super bullish on the whole thing, and then now the Pulse ecosystem, I guess that's where I was headed with this, right? Is we're not going to miss it. If you're here now, you're here pretty early.
My bullishness in the RH ecosystem is on PulseChain itself, because I think everything else is a hedge on PulseChain at this point, right? Like if PulseChain fails, like the Hex code is never going to fail. So right, there's a technical aspect to it, and then there is a financial aspect to it. So Hex is never going to fail unless Ethereum fails and PulseChain fails. And at this point, even we have two other forks with Hex on it, right? The ETHW and ETHF, right? So I mean, now there's 4 places that Hex is functioning flawlessly. But
if the internet shuts down, KG and ChrispyMan and I will trade Hex by like flipping quarters and sending smoke signals, which you actually can do.
I have a paper contract. We'll use that. It'll be good.
Burn it.
TShares on pencils and paper.
That's right.
We know the math. We could do it.
But to finish that thought, it's PulseChain at this point, I think, has to succeed financially for the rest of the ecosystem to succeed. So 100%. That's what when I'm out there talking about bullishness and RH ecosystem, I'm using whatever little platform I have in that moment to talk about PulseChain, because if people come to PulseChain, it's gonna everything else. Well, not everything. Some things are obviously gonna fail on PulseChain, but the things that are going to succeed if they have any reliance on PulseChain have a better chance of succeeding if PulseChain succeeds.
Yeah, and I can't say that I've always agreed with like the sentiment that PulseChain needs, let's say, degeneracy in order to succeed, but I will strongly agree that PulseChain needs strength to succeed. And that's exemplified by a lot of what people have been building. I mean, we've got time locking for Pulse and PulseX and Time Pays Me. We've got internetmoney.io with a PulseChain wallet. We've got, and we'll talk about that more later on the show. You got liquid loans, which light bulbs are going off in my head like, oh, a native stablecoin. Now I get it. I get why that is powerful, is because there is no bank that is holding onto dollars and giving you an IOU. There's no middleman bank. It's a smart contract. And sure, I want to understand it better than I do now, but that seems valuable. It seems very valuable to me when, you've got an obscure bridge risk with PulseChain and stuff like that. Well, with a native stablecoin, maybe you don't have the same risks all in one. So
You absolutely do not have the same risk, and that's the beauty of it. And if you look at PulseChain like a country, right? You have America and Russia and China and wherever else. We all have our own currencies and our own ecosystems within our country. So these different blockchains like Ethereum or Bitcoin or PulseChain or Gnosis Chain or whatever, they're all their own individual countries with their own economy and their own currency. And the more infrastructure we can have on PulseChain, the less people have to leave the country to interact and perform commerce. And so native stablecoins are critical to that country's commerce, that chain's commerce, because it allows people to retain value and protect value without volatility. And so we don't have to say, okay, we're going to go to ETH and then to PulseChain, right? Because now we're still reliant on another country to come in. So now we can come right into the country and we never have to leave until we want to, go back to fiat dollars for some, we got to pay our light bills or whatever. But I think you're hitting the nail on the head with that. Absolutely.
yeah, stable coins are a big deal in the first place. Even the ones that are redeemable in centralized institutions, they serve a major role in crypto. And it is a big difference between crypto where you want the volatility and stablecoins where you don't want the volatility.
Which, again, this is another interesting point about stablecoins is, okay, so, most of us know Hart's Law. If you don't know Hart's Law, well, I'm not going to go into that for this discussion, but I know you two know it. So if, like, let's say you're wanting to trade Pulse for Hex, right? Well, because in many ways they move together, if, Pulse is dipping, well, then Hex is probably going to be dipping to some extent as well. So now you're not really getting a great trade because it went down together, it's going up together, right? But if you have a stable and something dips, you have now retained that value and you can actually go into the dip and pick it up at a true DCA. Whereas they're not riding together. So holding value in the stable.
Hart's Law is important because it's basically pointing out that things that are denominated in each other determine each other's price and trade together. So if you have liquidity between Bitcoin and Ethereum, then if the price of Bitcoin goes down and they're interchangeable for each other on a decentralized smart contract, then the value of the other decreases, right? And same way, working in the opposite direction, where things that are denominated in Ethereum, they can be worth more because of the value of Ethereum goes up, because it's sitting in a smart contract that was designed to, prove the value of something. The only way you can prove the value of something is by saying you can take either side of the trade. And it's going to be a standing, basically a standing limit order where you could take either side, and that proves that those values are equal. So when you get multiple markets touching each other and multiple assets, then the liquidity of Ethereum can change because more people are buying it, and then the value of everything that is trading with Ethereum in decentralized exchanges is going up and down as well. And so, you could think back to when Hex was initially part of DEXs becoming popular. We had 30% of the volume. Isn't that what they say? We had 30% of the volume on Uniswap for the first couple of months, something like that.
I believe it. Yeah.
And that was against Ethereum. Basically, the largest liquidity pool was Hex ETH. And then people started to realize what Hart's Law was, and they rotated into USDC. So that basically, as the value of Ethereum came back down, that Hex wouldn't be dragged down because of that on top of it. And so that's pretty interesting. And then you have I think that goes back to what KG was saying about how the fate of everything in the RH ecosystem is kind of related to Pulse. Well, yeah, now that so many people sacrificed Hex for Pulse and for PulseX, and there's deep liquidity between those things, that means that they're going to trade up and down together automatically.
That is very true. Yes, because the deepest liquidity, like, and even when there's liquidity for stable coins, like there is a deepish liquidity, or at least there was. I haven't looked in some time, but between Hex and USDC, like you said. But the reason that it really didn't resist the dip, well, I guess A, people were selling, but B, because it still had thick liquidity pools with Ethereum. So if it went down over there, because that's another thing too that is kind of unknown, is that every single pair in the DEX has its own price in its own market. So if you have Hex USDC, that has its own price. If you have Hex ETH, that has its own price. And so you not only do you have the price moving within the large market of a token, you have the price moving in within each market within each pair. So if
technically on a DEX it's a ratio, and the price is something that's ascribed by like translating into dollars what both of those ratios mean. But I would say that, like, yeah, when we look in DEX Screener, it's assigning a dollar value for each thing, but that's not present on the DEX. Even if you have a USDC Hex pair, the value of USDC can fluctuate a penny up and down.
Yeah, but when you say it's not present, are you referring to the fact that you have slippage? So it's not a real price until you actually try to do a trade?
No, but that's important. What I'm saying is that all the DEX cares about is the ratio of the two things, if it's a V2 DEX.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of brainiacs watching this, and maybe you guys could answer even better than I can. My observation is, if I go create a new token, and I'm the only one that holds it initially, and it hasn't been on the market, and I just go lay in an LP with Hex directly to Hex with it, because I have Hex and I define the ratio and I manage how much I put out there in terms of the tokens, and I lay in a relatively thick, number of tokens based on what I think people might do with it. My token value, at least on the DEX, the way it's reported, it's just going to track with Hex. It's going to, whatever, I might, if I push a buy through, it might give it a price. It'll just track up and down. It wouldn't be until people try, actually put some volume to it, that it might go off and veer off. Usually it seems like the value starts to squirt out when, somebody adds different LP pairs. with the same tokens, and then breaks that to some extent. But I think this is what I saw a lot of with the Atropa ecosystem. You know, we've seen that with even the influencer tokens, Maddie. You know, when we were messing around with that and putting in LP, they track very well together. And what throws them off is, actually going to, it appears, at least for, I'll call those, what are those, creative tokens. For these types of creative tokens that are out there, putting them up against DAI is a bad idea, because that's real money. And it makes it so that the price actually goes down and it doesn't necessarily track, but because it tends to detract from the other LPs. Well, anyways, that was my observation.
The bots will start chopping you
Yes,
up, and
the army of bots.
I refer to myself as a broadcaster, not an influencer.
Well, and actually, I like that distinction.
It's true.
Right? Influencing denotes almost like a predatory practice of manipulation, right? But
correct.
To Crispy's point, it does track together, because again, in all of these individualized markets, even if it's the same token, okay, yes, you have R bots that are going to go and basically adjust these things automatically. If they say, oh, I can get Hex for 100 ETH of a penny less over here, I'm going to go do that, and then I'm going to go sell it over here. So everything eventually finds its way back to each other. Even non-R bots, like if you use, for example, the in-app swap on Internet Money, or if you use Uniswap, or if you're using these things, they route through multiple pairs. So it's always going to just find a stasis. So you might find these opportunities to you might get lucky. Like sometimes when we're trading in our wallet, you'll get like, oh my gosh, there's a bonus of tokens. But it's just, you got to get lucky to actually be the one who capitalizes on that opportunity, or have a bot that finds those things for you,
or be Johnny Chaos.
Or if he's got it down, then be Johnny Chaos.
To be fair, I haven't gone into like the super detailed analysis mode on this, but just looking, surface level and digging in through the explorers, right? So even when I've set up LP between like the Fire token and Access Alive token, and have watched that, you can see, because I'm not promoting a token for people to go buy, right? So it's not something that's actively used, but those damn bots come in like constantly.
Always.
They're constantly doing it, and so you can see when you go look at the transactions. Yeah, oh, this guy made two pulse, right? But then if I keep looking, all of a sudden you see, Eureka, look, this guy made 10,000 pulse. Now that's not a lot right now, but if they're making a profit overall, I can see why the bot operators are doing it. Doing the ARB. That thing's running 24 hours a day. Some of these ARBs, I don't know how many transactions they put through.
Hey man,
One
if you're
day,
making go ahead, Matty.
I was just gonna say, one day we'll get Wendy's for Tendies back on the show, and we'll ask him about all these bot armies.
I mean, if you're running an R bot and you're making 10,000 pulse a trade and you're doing 100 trades a day, I mean, you're talking millions of pulse a day just for something that's, or ETH, a couple ETH a day. Like we saw on Ethereum, what was it, Jared for Subway.eth, that bot on these meme tokens was making like 40 ETH a day just for his thing running in him or her, no one knows, just an address on chain. But it's like, that is passive income if you have the ability to know how to do that for yourself.
Now, bot operators, I do not envy them, because they are hated, and
True.
they are always competing with each other and losing. And I should also point out that there are major scams out there. If you tried to Google like how to make my own trading bot in crypto,
absolutely.
like you would lose all your money. And I bet the scams are probably getting even more sophisticated these days. So they might even like trick you into thinking you're making a profit by sending a little bit of your money back to you and then getting you to put in more. So I would strongly recommend, if you are not at the level of programming it yourself and understanding the market better than 100% of the people who are in the market. Because literally, if you're not better than that, then somebody else is going to come and take your lunch. Yeah, to have a bot, you have to give the bot your keys. And if it's not your keys, it's not your coins. And if it's not your bot, then you're being robbed. So definitely, I want to strongly recommend to the viewers of this audience to avoid that scam, because I don't think I've ever talked about it before, but it's certainly there.
Great disclaimer.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up. I have a good friend who got taken by that. Very, very experienced, you know, but it's exactly what you're saying. You know, they signed up for a service and they had to sign over what was there, and so whatever they signed in with, whatever wallet they were using got completely crushed, taken.
Did I ever tell you guys the story of when I typed in Richard's private keys into my
No.
computer?
I did. I'm assuming scammers gave you
No,
private keys.
no. This is a good story. So in the early days of Hex, Richard did a walkthrough video where it was only, I think it was like, maybe it was like a 7 or 14-minute video, but it showed you how to set up a MetaMask. And he showed the screen with the seed words on there. Right? And so I was volunteering to like test something out, just in like the Hex dev chat or so, you know, something like that. And I was like, oh, I need like, maybe, oh yeah, like maybe it would be impressive, you know, if I just use this wallet, just because like it was just for fun. I was helping out just for fun. So I'm like, I'll just use that wallet, right? Because I could go back to the video, I could take the seed words, like type them into a separate browser and like mark this as never use this wallet, that type of thing. And then, you know, I could like demonstrate what I was trying to demonstrate using that wallet. I thought I was so clever. And so the wallet was empty. So I'm like, all right. So I sent like, I don't know, $10 worth of ETH in there.
Yeah.
And poof. Yeah. Not even two blocks later, the money was gone out of the wallet. I mean, faster than humanly possible to do a send. And I was so excited that I had discovered like a bot that was, you know, lurking right there. I went ahead and I did it again, like another $5 into the, because I was like, oh, could it be really that fast? And it was. Yeah, it was that
wow
fast.
Someone was like, he knew that the person who did that already knew that people were going to see Richard's video, type in the seed phrase and you know,
by mistake. Yeah. And think that, yeah, well, maybe, but
not by mistake. Honeypot, right?
Anything.
That's
anything.
a form of a honeypot.
So it was quite the lesson that I learned about.
That's a cool story, man.
About public keys.
Damn.
And then you know, there's another thing I learned on Twitter today about keys. There's a website called keys.lol. And it's got every private key. Well, the joke, which is partially true, is that they have every private key for every possible address on Bitcoin and Ethereum on their website.
Of course. Because it's mathematically possible to get them all, right?
Well, but then they disclose that it hasn't it basically generates them when you go to a page and you can click and randomly go and it'll check to see if there's any money. And you can click all day. You can click all day and you won't find any money because that's how hard it is to guess a number in between 1 and like close to infinity. So it's, for all of you geeks out there that like understanding private keys here, I'll bring it up on screen, you know, like let's have some fun with keys.lol. maybe we'll get lucky and find some free money.
That's something that I think about often, is the entire crypto industry is predicated upon a mathematical improbability, right? Even if you have a hardware wallet, which will protect you from things like, malicious apps and stuff, somebody could just randomly generate a seed phrase and it be the one that's on your hardware wallet. Yeah, we say, oh, okay, there's so many possibilities that's not going to happen. Sure, it may not happen, but mathematically there is a number. And, Schrodinger's cat, where all things are possible, there is and especially if we have 8 billion people on the planet using crypto, we're going to start to enter into a phase at some point where people are generating other people's seed phrase. So like if crypto really does become the currency of humanity for years and years and years and years and global adoption, we have a real problem on our hands. What's the solution?
It'll be okay. It'll be we'll solve
We'll figure it out. We will. I'm confident in that.
As long as people keep seeing a better future tomorrow and paying your future self and all the cool things we talk about here. So this is page, whatever, 8.4 giga mega hyper trillion.
Yeah, wow.
Out of 9.0 like such pages, and it's got like 100 per page or something like that, and the red line means that there's no money in there, but it's got like sequentially what every private key could possibly be, and then the corresponding address. So it's like showing ads and
wow.
So I can hit the dice button and then like hop to another page. Like it's not it generates the page. It's not being held in storage because it would take too much storage. There's not enough like storage on Earth probably. Somebody fact check me on that, but there's not enough storage for them to even have it. So I'm gonna hit this one more. Yeah.
Okay, this is so cool because I would love to know how many results there are per page and multiply it by pages and know what this number actually is.
Oh, it's known. Yeah. It's ChatGPT. It's like
10 to the 77th, they're saying in chat.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it's probably like decakillion, megabillion, quadrillion, just like.
I was going to go talk to ChatGPT.
Okay, yeah. It's 1.15 times 10 to the 77th.
Okay. Watch my Twitter. I'm gonna type out what this number is later, and you could say it to yourself to go to sleep at night.
Yeah. So
you said it's 1.5.
1.15.
1.15 times 10 to the 77th, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what my friend says. So it's a big number. We know that already. The number is far larger than a trillion, quadrillion, or any commonly used term. So.
Of course, Papa B presented on that number at one of the Hex conferences. Did like a multi-minute segment on exactly how big the number is and what all the words you would have to use to get there.
Yeah, it's actually pretty simple. It's called a septillion.
Sure, but he
not to be.
He had a whole routine.
10
to Crispy. Well, I mean that's also something to consider too. Is
a reptilian?
Yeah, I said not a reptilian, septillion. Makes sense. Sep 7.
there's more private keys than there are seed phrases, I would imagine, because one seed phrase can generate arguably, I'm sure there's some finite number, but arguably an infinite amount of private keys. So I would imagine there's more private key combinations than there are seed phrase combinations. And well, I guess
it should be the same.
no, because like one seed phrase, for example, I actually don't know the number of how many private keys one seed phrase can generate, but like private keys are derived from a seed phrase. So I would assume there's more. Unless you're using the secret 25th word. Well, then now you've entered into the realm of unlimited because, well, then it can be anything. It can be one character. It could be, I think, like 70 characters or something like that.
I think that's also what Papa B was presenting on. It was, he had his cards. He was like holding up cards that was representing like how much security you're adding by having the 25th word.
Powerful.
All that kind of stuff. But yeah, it definitely very cool to understand how secure the math is here behind crypto. It's kind of a big deal. And especially people who watch this channel are interested in stuff like keys.lol.
Yeah. Well, since I think you guys were talking about the seed phrases, I already think I knew this, but had to look it up. Right? I can have a single seed phrase that have many addresses. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I like to describe the seed phrase as the mothership, and each private key is like a little lieutenant that flies off the mothership.
That's where the reptilians are, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And the mothership. That's a good visual, actually, right? That'd work in a slide.
Well, I mean, one thing that really gets the job done in crypto is having commas and prices next to everything. And I think that's where internetmoney.io is really shining these days.
Thank you. We do have commas and prices next to everything in the app.
Love it. Yeah. I started setting it up a while ago, but I just started using it today.
Nice. We are a MetaMask alternative. We are native to PulseChain. So like on MetaMask, if you download it, you're going to be on Ethereum, but in internet money, you're going to be on PulseChain. And we have most of the PulseChain assets preloaded, and we're continuing to add more. So if you're not in there, just let us know. We're not trying to gatekeep anybody. There's a lot of assets right now. We're doing our best. But we have price tracking for every single PulseChain asset. As long as it has a price on Dex Screener. Actually, one step back. We have price tracking for every asset that's on Dex Screener and the 72 chains that they support. So if a token has a price for 5 minutes, it's going to be in the Internet Money wallet. We're not relying on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. We're trying to remove every layer of gatekeeping and suppression possible. And it makes it feel more like money when you could see your whole portfolio balance, and you can see not only do we have your total value of each token, we have the individual price of each token. So even if you're someone who just wants to test out the wallet but doesn't want to put any funds in yet, you can create a dummy account, import all the tokens you want to watch, and you could just watch their prices right there from within the wallet too.
Nice. Sounds way better to me than Nomics. That website doesn't even work anymore.
I think they took it down, didn't they?
They did.
Oh, that was a joke. Got it.
I liked Clay, by the way, but he broke up the Tuesday night gang. That's why Wales quit the show. So
because of Nomics?
Got it.
Yes. Yeah.
I interviewed Clay and I didn't know how much it would upset Wales.
Well, I'm sorry that happened.
It was a claymation day, that's for sure.
Nomics' fault.
Nomics too.
It was Nomics' fault.
What? Yeah, so internetmoney.io it's a wallet. You can get it on your phone, you can get it on your Chrome extension. It's like starting off on PulseChain with like all the settings in there, but you could also use it with Ethereum, I'd imagine.
Any EVM chain, just like MetaMask. We right now we have like 15 chains preloaded, including PulseChain testnet and a few other testnets. But
Nice.
you can enter in custom RPC settings just like you do on MetaMask. So it's not a really big learning curve for people who are trying to go from MetaMask. No, we did not fork MetaMask. We built the code from the ground up, but it is a that's why we say MetaMask replacement, because you can do what you do right now on MetaMask in internet money. It's one of the main things we do is we're uniquely tailored to Pulse Chain's nuances. So that you're going to have a better experience transacting on Pulse Chain in internet money than you will MetaMask, because MetaMask isn't accommodating. Pulse Chain has quirks. Every blockchain has its own quirks, and it's nothing bad about a chain. It's just it was developed by humans, and even if it's a fork, it's still nuanced. And so Pulse Chain has nuances, and we've accommodated for those.
Would you give the audience an example? I have an idea what you're talking about for sure, but give the audience some sort of
Good
real
question.
tangible.
Sure. One of the biggest ones we see on MetaMask that affects the most users is when Pulse Chain forked Ethereum and it 1.2 million x'd the base token, Pulse. It changed how wallets interact with it because the units of token and gas was so much larger. And so when we see volatility in Pulse Chain occurring, you'll see a lot of failed transactions on MetaMask, stuck transactions, uh, just forever stuck, right? And the reason that's happening is because the network spiked faster than MetaMask could accommodate for that network spike in the quote that it gave you to execute the transaction. So internet money has thought of that, all of that already. And we have tailored the wallet to overestimate gas fees on Pulse Chain to accommodate for the larger
You're talking about during a swap, particularly.
send, swap, connect, even DApp transactions. It's a problem. It's not a problem. It's a quirk, a Pulse Chain quirk with everything, right? Because again, that 1.2 million X.
Yeah, I mean, the wallet is part of what's deciding how much gas you want to bid. So that would make sense that different wallet providers would have different um different observations of what the best user experience is to not
And well, I think
overpay gas, but to not get transactions stuck, because that's also overpaying for gas
it is.
and screwing up.
to KG's point, one time I opened my wallet up and it said I had $1 billion with a B worth of Pulse, right? And
What
so
wallet's that?
so this is, these are front end softwares, right? And so they at least MetaMask is, right, requires somebody to do some work to make sure things work the way they're supposed to, and probably and I think I'll just sum it up this way: probably Pulse Chain isn't their priority. And while what KG is saying is with internet money, it is a very high priority.
Well, it is. Well, Pulse Chain is the core blockchain of our focus. So we want to make sure that everything is uniquely tailored and optimized for Pulse Chain, and we continue to work out from there. For example, the other three larger chains we are currently on with our in-app swap and our token, which we can get into if you'd like, is Binance, Ethereum, and Polygon. So we do have arms in other communities, and so we're slowly branching out and optimizing for other chains too. Now, I say optimizing, that's not to indicate that we don't work with all these chains. We do. Just like MetaMask, you can go in and import any chain. But when you have in software a default support of a thing, it's not accommodating for nuance. And so, you can really only do that on a chain by chain basis. And so we support everything in our default way, and we're optimizing for each individual chain as time goes on.
Do you support Matty Chain?
If Matty Chain exists, we'll support it, bro. You let me know. We'll preload it right in the wallet.
All right. Devs, get on it.
Yeah. And go ahead. If you have any specific questions before I just start going off.
Yeah. So like, what are the risks of using your wallet?
I would say they are the same risks as using any other software wallet, in that you should always, if possible for you, use a hardware wallet on our Chrome extension, because then your private keys or seed phrase will never interact with
I like that.
the wallet. But if you decide to not use a hardware wallet, or you're unable to, due to using mobile, we actually pride ourselves on being more secure than MetaMask and Trust Wallet, just by nature of we use a 24-word seed phrase rather than a 12-word seed phrase. So going back to this abstract number we were calculating, the number is exponentially larger, and so obviously more complex and harder to brute force and things like that, or harder to guess, right, with double the words.
It's also harder to write down correctly. So
harder to write down correctly. You're right about that. But one thing that we always recommend is, if you generate, and this is true for internet money or any wallet, and even for your hardware wallet, make sure before you put funds on or actually on that address, try to re-import it. Yes, it takes a little extra time and it's annoying, but make sure you wrote it down right. Make sure you know how to type it in before, oops, you dropped your hardware wallet in the river, or oops, your phone died and now you don't have access to your software wallet. Make sure before you put money on a seed phrase, it works. And so, I guess our risks are in line with other things, I guess, is the best way to answer that question. We have software wallet risks like everything else, like other software wallets.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I'm pleased that you recommend that people generate their seed phrase on a hardware wallet on the Chrome
100%.
extension. And
100%.
if you're playing around, with your phone, then you're not putting major amounts of money on there. It's like, you wouldn't walk around in a dangerous neighborhood with
exactly
all of the cash in your bank account, probably. We don't use banks anymore, but like, you get the idea.
That's actually, I'm so glad you brought up that example, because people say you should never do crypto on your phone. And I actually disagree with that philosophy, because doing crypto on your phone is actually how crypto is going to be a real means of commerce, because it's not a real means of commerce to walk around with your hardware wallet and your laptop that never connects to the internet every time you want to buy a hamburger. Okay. It's unreal. So to your point there, Maddie, the recommendation we make is we teach people how to set up a vault that does have, whatever degree of security they can afford or realistically accommodate. We can go through solutions there. And just like you said, when you're walking through that dangerous neighborhood, if you are using a mobile wallet, whether it's internet money or some other mobile wallet, don't have anything in there that you can't afford to lose. Because the one time you connect to a malicious app, well, your money can be stolen. So I use my mobile wallet every single day, because let's say you're out at dinner, and even if it's not to pay the restaurant in Pulse or whatever, or Bitcoin, what if you want to execute a trade? You see the price pumping of your token, you want to run into the bathroom and do a quick trade. You have to have flexibility.
Buy red candles, people.
Buy red candles, sell green candles if it's reasonable. DCA out responsibly.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, even for onboarding, I carry around a small amount of crypto on my phone, and I am constantly checking to make sure I don't have too much on there, or to make sure that my security posture is correct across everything. If you've never if you've never regenerated your wallet on a different device, then that's bad long-term planning if you really believe in crypto, which I know a lot of people who watch this channel do. But even when you're entering it, take the long way and enter it on your hardware device.
Yep.
Don't enter it on the keyboard, because the keyboard could be compromised, and you don't want to be you don't want to be checking to make sure that you have everything secure, and that be the moment where your security fails you.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things we just have to teach each other. And I don't really care if the topic isn't for everybody, because I really think if you're in crypto long term, it doesn't matter if you're tired of hearing about security, you still need to hear about it. 'Cause things change.
I agree completely. That is very good advice, because hacks are at every level. You could have a keylogger on your computer. So yes, if you generate a seed phrase on a hardware wallet, only enter it on the hardware wallet, or you just invalidated the reason for having a hardware wallet anyways. So it should only go into the hardware wallet. Agreed.
And if you're a long-term person in Hex and you have stakes coming out on a seed phrase that was not generated on a hardware wallet, you might consider rotating those funds into an address that's associated with a seed phrase that was generated on the hardware wallet, right? A hardware wallet can import a seed phrase that was made on a computer or a phone, or by flipping quarters. And it can also import, well, it can also create its own. And creating its own is far more secure. KG, I did do a video during the middle of the bear market, maybe about 11 months ago. I did a video where I was rolling dice to create a private key, and then I translated it into a deck of cards, and the order of the cards is the way to decode what the private key is.
Wow, that's cool, dude. That's cool, dude.
It might be up to 40 now. But yeah. Nobody watched it. It was one of my lowest watched videos of the past 2 years, because the price of Hex was down so much, and crypto in general. That's when Bitcoin bottomed. At the end of last year. Yeah. So but I'm glad we're able to talk these nuanced points. That's what people in this chat like to hear about. Okay, cool. So you answered my question about the security. Now, tell me what else is cool about internetmoney.io.
So the thing we are most excited about right now is we do have an in-app swap feature, and we have just made it incredible. And this next statement is 100% indisputably true. The Internet Money Wallet is the best place to swap on PulseChain. Okay, I know that in this community, we've been trained to think, swapping in the wallet, like MetaMask, for example, is actually bad. We should go directly to the DEX. Well, that isn't the best way to swap, and here's why. Because now, let's say on PulseChain, we have how many DEXs? 6 or 7 native DEXs, and we have a DEX aggregator. So when somebody says, I'm going to go directly to the DEX, my first question is, what DEX? Okay, choose one. They choose any DEX. Doesn't matter. You cannot guarantee
PulseX, PH ecosystem, what else?
So we got
that's 3 of them.
We got 9-inch PulseX V1, PulseX V2, 9mm V2, 9mm V3, Fux and Pateus, as well as we have all the forked over DEXs from Ethereum. So those 7 I just named, along with forked Uniswap V2, forked Uniswap V3, forked Sushi Swap, Pancake Swap, and Shiba Swap, are all supported in the Internet Money Wallet. And so my point with bringing that up was, okay, let's say you go directly to PulseX V1. Let's say you go directly to Pateus. You go directly to 9inch. You go directly to any of these sources. You actually cannot guarantee that you're getting the best trade. Why? Because you're only going to one source. So when you swap within the Internet Money Wallet, we do not have our own DEX. We have our own in-app DEX aggregator. So when you do a swap, it takes all those DEXs and Pateus that I just mentioned, and it shows you the quote from all of those DEXs at the same exact time. And the DEX that's going to give you the most tokens is at the top. And what's so cool about it too is, okay, people say, oh, I don't want to pay a wallet fee. Okay, let me speak to that. Two things. We do charge a fee. 100% of that fee gets distributed to our token holders. Time. And look, this is where we have a lot of synergy. Your time pays me. Our token is time. It pays people. There's a lot of synergy between us there. So 100% of our fee gets distributed to the holders of our token in the form of the native coin. So if you're swapping on PulseChain, they're getting paid Pulse. If you're swapping on Ethereum, you're getting paid ETH, and so on. And the routing is optimized. And like I said, when you're comparing all those quotes, oftentimes you find that you get lucky and get an arbitrage opportunity. So if you go to our Twitter, we posted a tweet recently where I was trading $100 of Pulse to PulseX, and the number one DEX was actually giving me $100.08. People might say, oh, who cares? It's only 8 cents. But the point is, you paid the wallet fee, you paid the DEX fee, and you still made out 8 cents greater than the thing you were trading. And that happens all the time in the wallet because you're scanning every single market at the same exact time. So in summary, if you're saying, not you personally, just in general, that, oh, going directly to the DEX is the best place to swap, you have been miseducated and you are wrong. Internet Money Wallet is the best place to swap. 0.729% of the value of the asset you're swapping out of. But again, you'll see if you go in there and just test it out, do some quoting, don't even swap. Put $20 in there, test it out, do some quoting. You will see that with paying the wallet fee and paying the DEX fee, you often come out greater had you not paid those fees in the first place. So the fee, I would say 8 out of 10 times pays for itself.
Somebody needs to talk to these other DEXs and find out where 0.7% is going there. Because, yeah.
Because we're not a DEX. So we're not in competition with the DEXs. We're just saying, hey, all DEXs, when someone, let's say in the wallet, swaps from Pulse to PulseX, we go to all the DEXs simultaneously and say, hey, what's the best place somebody can get this trade? Or what's the best quote you can offer this user? Displays all those quotes.
I like that. Yeah, I like that better for new and intermediate users, because then I don't have to explain how to spell Pateus.
But that's the thing, is it's not just new and intermediate. It's even for advanced users. Because if you're going directly to Pateus, again, love Pateus. We support them, nothing against them. But they're not always the best place to swap. No one DEX is. It changes every single
Pateus is an
trade.
aggregator.
And we aggregate to them. We're an aggregator of aggregators and DEXs. We are the highest, most advanced place to swap on PulseChain and makes it the easiest.
Man, if you tell me you're going to get me a better price, dude, I'll look. Yeah.
All I ask is you try it.
Yeah.
And
hey, if it's true, I'm going to sing your praises. All right.
Well, thank you. It is true. And I can't wait for you to sing our praises. Because again, when we're in there quoting, because you brought Pateus up, right? That's kind of the biggest question we get is we reach out to Pateus. Pateus gives us the quote. So do all the other DEXs. And it's just whatever is the best place to swap. I mean, you can still, let's say someone's a PulseX V1 maxi because they want all their volume to buy and burn PulseX, right? Well, even though PulseX V1 may not be the best place to trade, they're still able to do that in the wallet. and it's really nice and clean. It just lists them all out, shows you the token output, shows you the US dollar value output, and puts the highest yielding one right at the top and says recommended option. So if you just want the most tokens and you don't care, you're just going to hit the recommended option. But if, again, you like swapping somewhere, you still can.
All right. Here's a question from the chat. Crypto Bendu is asking, where can I see the fees generated by Time Token?
So we are very close to deploying our stats page, which will have that information back from the day that Time launched. So, excuse me, right now you can look on chain. I hate to give that answer, but bear with us. We're building the stats page as we speak, and we hope to have that stood up within about the next 7 days.
What do you think of Arculus wallet? Haven't heard of it myself.
I don't know too much about them other than they have like the private key on a credit card type device, which I think is kind of cool because sorry. They have their version of a hardware wallet, which is on this credit card looking thing. So I think that's pretty cool because you have like a companion hardware wallet, but I don't know too much about them.
The chat's backing you up here so far about giving you a better deal every time.
Danny,
There's
thank you
I've
for the
seen
shout
like
out.
three. I've seen like 3 people say that, I think.
Don Montoya.
And look, all we ask is this, and I'm going to repeat it. Don't take my word for it. Put $20, $10, whatever you're comfortable with in the internet money wallet. Start doing some quotes and then go to your computer or wherever and simultaneously compare all these places at the same time. You're going to find 2 things. A, you physically can't compare 15 dexes simultaneously on your computer. It's not possible because by the time you get back to the first dex, the quote has already changed. So the markets are so fluid, you literally can't replicate what we do as an individual human. It would take a team of humans. So that's one. Number 2, we are like in the PulseX example, you'll often find that we actually give better rates swapping on PulseX than going to PulseX to swap. Why? Because PulseX makes an assumption in its routing logic that says, hey, if this pair is the thickest liquidity, execute the trade. It's called a single hop. But in our wallet, we don't make that assumption. You can use PulseX, but we leave it open to do a multi-hop, which then gives the user more tokens. Sometimes if it needs it. Point being is we have, yes, we're in the form of a wallet, but we have done such an incredible job of making swapping not only easy, clean, and well presented, but value regardless of your experience level in crypto.
Well, maybe all the people who are reporting they get better prices, maybe they're time holders. So maybe I'm questioning their incentives because this is a game theory show. But yeah, so far it's not adding up to me, to be real, that you can charge a 0.7% fee, go out and aggregate prices and still give the best price. Like that doesn't add up to me, but like I'll check it out, dude. And if you can get me more tokens for the same amount of money, then that's what I'll use. It's pretty much that simple. And as I was saying before, even if that's not the case where people are always getting the best price, I still think that internet money wallet is a big deal for people that I onboard.
Well,
If I don't have to read off the instructions on how to get onto PulseChain, and I don't have to tell them how to spell Pateus.io, that is a big deal to me personally.
Well, I dropped a link in the private chat. Are you open to pulling that up by any chance? It's to a tweet.
As you're going to do that, I think proof is always an operation, right? And people doing their own research, of course. Some people are into it, some people aren't. But the one thing I'll say, Maddie, is this: is I don't disagree for a moment, or don't, I get what's the right way to say this. I mean, I've been through enough stuff already, looking at PulseX and other dexes and Ethereum, that it's very plain to me that the claim could be that it saves you so much money that that a fee makes sense, even if it is something like 7%. Now, I'm not suggesting that's how,
0.7.
or 0.7, excuse me. I'm not suggesting that's good or bad. I'm just saying I can understand it being that good, because some of the people that I know that have been using Pidius they've been saving thousands of dollars, just by using Pidius, because
Yeah,
it
because
aggregates and it looks.
because it stops sandwich bot attacks or whatever the bots do. When I can see on chain that they're stealing 30 cents on my $100 trade, like I can see it. So that's when I became aware of it, and that's when I started using Pateus.io over PulseX, because it's still giving PulseX the buy and burn that it needs to make my PulseX valuable. Like, I'm not selling out PulseX by using an aggregator, as far as I understand it. And because order routing like spreads over multiple dexes, if it has to get you the best price, that's another factor that means that PulseX will get used, even if not 100% for 100% of the trade, for a good enough part of the trade, representing the amount of liquidity the amount of total DEX liquidity that it holds compared to other DEXs, is how I would imagine that works.
Well,
So
what I want to show you in this tweet is, if you click on the picture so it expands. So here was a trade, or like actually click it, because like there's more. Yeah. So in this trade, I was trading $100 of Pulse to PulseX. So you can see that Pateus was not the best place to swap. So just because Pateus is splitting up the trade, it was actually the 6th best place to swap or something in this trade. So, and this again is not a slight to Pateus. It's just, and I see all the comments going off. I mean, you guys out there, you can
so
prove
Pateus
this.
is making more money off me than I thought. Is basically that's the only way to logically connect these things. That basically you guys can charge a 0.7% fee, but still offer the best price.
Because we quote everywhere at the same time. That's the only way what we do is possible. Because, okay, here's another example. I was trading in wallet, because I do a lot of testing. I was trading like DAI for USDC, right? Because we were trying to do a stable to stable pair to see how it activated or how it operated. I got 9 USDC for a 5 DAI trade. How is that possible? Because when you search multiple liquidity pools, multi-hop liquidity pools, and you search all the dexes at the same time, you often find one of these ARB opportunities. So it's like people out there that, like, I saw someone said his bullshit detectors going off. It's not even like I'm trying to sell people on like an idea. It's just literally how the chain and the dexes in the market works. And because we quote it all at the same time, you're able to capitalize on these opportunities as they present themselves. So it's not that Pateus is bad. It's not. It's an incredible service. It's not that any one DEX is bad. They're all incredible services. It's just that you can never guarantee that going to a single place to swap every time is the best. The only way to guarantee is to compare everywhere at the same time.
So if I show my screen with Pateus right now, when I go to show route, it's showing me that it's spreading 54% of the buy of Pulse to PulseX into PHUX. Sometimes it does this where it like the trade
and
goes away for a while.
So the Pateus quote
Which
you
is
see in our wallet is we're working with Pateus and we're pinging their API. So even though we're not showing you the route like we are on their website, it's still going through the exact process that it is on their site. We're just saying, hey, Pateus, give me the quote. just like their front end is doing. So you could consider us a Pateus front end in that respect, if you want to put it that way.
Well, it curiously does say on this $50 buy that there's like a 0.7%, 0.74% difference between the estimated input and output. All right, man.
Exactly.
Well, my point is, I was getting screwed on PulseX because the bots were taking 30 cents that they didn't need, or that I didn't want to give them. And then I switched to Pateus, and that was getting me better than PulseX. And, you know, I'll look on Internet Money, and I recommend other people do the same to see what kind of a deal you can get. And, 0.7% might not sound like a lot, but if that's not going to bots and it's going to people who are supporting Internet Money .io, and then, or the holders of the token, and then you're also getting more coins as a trade. Look, a small amount could become incredibly valuable in the future. So yeah, very cool, very cool.
Well, thanks, man. And I appreciate you letting me dive into the weeds. It is game theory, gang. So I felt like tonight was, the type of show where I could get, intricate with it. And
we stream for 2 hours and 20 minutes every Tuesday. So we're like halfway through our show right now. So please continue.
Nice. Oh, freaking great. Okay. Yeah. And, and I'm repeating it because I still see some stuff coming through in the chat. Don't trust anything I'm saying. Please, if you're watching, verify it for yourself. Android, iOS, and Chrome. It is everything I said is true across those 3 platforms. So try it out, and you will validate what I said in your own reality.
KG, would you say I've known you probably at least a couple of years now, right?
A couple years, yes, sir.
So I don't take any offense to this. Somebody was asking me about Internet Money.
Mm-hmm.
Our community has so many different things going on, and we're all focused in different directions. A lot of people are listening and hearing about it for the first time. I believe it or not, right? I mean, maybe that's unlikely, that many people, but I mean, there are some people, and it's not offensive towards Internet Money. It's something that just have no reason yet to have looked at. So it's a good opportunity to get the word out, to evaluate, let the marketplace decide.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I take no offense. I mean, there are so many, not just within PulseChain, but within crypto, within the world, within our lives. There's so many things to pay attention to that if somebody hasn't dove into Internet Money, I'm not offended, because, well, just everything else I said. But for people that do give us the opportunity, even if you come in as a skeptic, please come in and criticize us and let us know in our Telegram chat all the things you love or hate, because we are constantly expanding. We are constantly improving. We have actually launched our beta over a year ago. It's been a year and a month at this point almost. We have 28,000 downloads across Android, iOS, and Chrome. We're in over 100 countries around the world. We exist, swapping, our in-app swap and our token exists on 4 chains. People are earning dividends on 4 chains. We have 1 security audit already. We are actively, on December the 6th, we submitted for our 2nd security audit. We're working towards becoming open source. So there's so many things that we're doing to be a real legitimate wallet in the marketplace. We've been battle tested for over a year with thousands of users, and we're going to continue to be battle tested. And so, if this is the tortoise and the hare, I feel like we're the tortoise in this analogy, because we're slow and steady wins this race for us. We can't rush, because we have arguably the wallet is the most critical piece of crypto, because it's how people interact with crypto. and it houses and interacts with the most sensitive, point in crypto, which is people's seed phrase and private keys, which is another important point. We don't store that information. So if you have your seed phrase or private keys in the Internet Money wallet, it is on your local device. So if you forget your password or you delete the app or you lose your phone, there's nothing we can do. There's zero. We can't help you. We don't collect data. We don't collect any information of any kind whatsoever, which makes us very privacy focused for the individual user. And so I feel like we're doing all the right things that real crypto, real DeFi people want, while also always continuing to refine the user experience and the user interface to make it prettier and smoother and be more intuitive.
Another thing I would recommend if you're going to use more than one wallet on the same computer, in Chrome, create a new profile. And the reason I recommend that, for example, to have one Chrome profile that has your MetaMask in it, and then have a separate Chrome profile that has your internetmoney.io wallet. It's because whenever you go to the decentralized web, whenever you go to dApps, sometimes they start fighting over which wallet is going to handle a transaction getting triggered, and it can lead to just some like weird stuff. And so even if the browser will let you have more than one wallet in the same browser, I would strongly recommend having separate browser profiles.
That's good advice. That is good. Yeah, that's very good advice. And from the security standpoint, like you said, but also just from a quirkiness standpoint, you have two wallets. Sometimes interacting with dApps can get weird and messy. So creating a Chrome profile is so easy. Great advice on that one. I fully back that.
I've seen like Coinbase wallet and MetaMask fighting with each other.
Exactly.
On the same thing. So that's another thing to make this something that you can practice yourself. Tips and tricks of the trade. So that's cool. KG, I like privacy. I don't like eating bugs.
Mm-hmm.
I like MetaMask because it's something I've used for a long time, and if MetaMask fails, then all of crypto's effed anyway. So it's like, strength in numbers, I guess. But it does suck that I can't see how much my tokens are worth on PulseChain. It sucks that I don't have commas, so I'm like, my eyes are scrambling to try to make sense of these tiny numbers on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I guess some people are wanting to use internet money because it has some sort of privacy thing that's better than MetaMask. And I guess like just for me, I'm thinking to myself, well, a certain portion of my crypto, I do want to cash out, into the fiat system at some point. And of course, it'll be a beautiful day in the world when we no longer need the fiat system at all. I'm not there yet. I don't think crypto is there yet. So what can you say to that of why people are choosing internet money wallet over MetaMask due to privacy concerns?
So to speak to the overall point, I think there is definitely use case to run MetaMask and Internet Money Wallet in parallel. And just a quick note, because we encounter this a lot. I mean, some people, we take it as just like, common knowledge, but you don't ever have to choose one wallet over another. Your seed phrase or your private keys or your hardware wallet can interact with multiple wallets simultaneously. So even me personally, in my own setup, I run MetaMask alongside Internet Money. I'm using Internet Money now about 80 to 90% of the time for all things I do in crypto. But you have an example like Liquid Loans just launched. Well, they only support MetaMask right now. So like internet money physically is not an option. We're talking with them about getting it supported, but for other dApps that support Wallet Connect, internet money is an option, and 95% of crypto dApps support Wallet Connect. So there is still a place for MetaMask, and I wouldn't be objectively truthful if I said otherwise. So
Cool.
I think that a big part of the way we try to present it to people is, yeah, of course we want you to ditch MetaMask and use us 100%. But what I think we're asking more now is use us in parallel and start to leverage internet money as much as possible. Now, where could internet money be leveraged more than MetaMask? Well, we don't collect your data. We know that MetaMask in large is owned by JP Morgan Chase. They do collect your data. They do store your data. They do sell your data. We know this. This is practices that they have to disclose when you do business with them. Okay. So if you're using MetaMask, you are having your data harvested and disseminated. Okay. So if you don't care about that, like that's fine.
What
but some
data?
people, more specifically your IP address. And we can only assume that having your IP tied to your transactions, exactly. Yes. So now where the speculation comes into play
For
is
most people, that tells the government your exact street address. For most people who aren't using a VPN, for example.
So, I mean, there are ways to mitigate it, but the point being is that right out of the box, they're leading people to that. And so
some people might not care about like your IP address or know what that even means, but like it's your unique internet identifier that is also linked to your physical address. So that pretty much narrows it down for the government pretty well if they have your IP address. So the fact that MetaMask is logging that is not cool, bro.
Not cool at all. And not cool at all, bro. And we've seen that MetaMask, they've disabled swapping for Hex. We see that MetaMask is more and more now taking steps towards being this legacy centralized gatekeeping entity. And
that's really not cool. Stopping Hex from being swapped.
I mean, we're not seeing MetaMask take steps away from decentralization. We're seeing MetaMask take steps towards it. So I think it's only a matter of time before like MetaMask becomes the wallet, of insert government entity here, which, okay, I can't necessarily hate on MetaMask. We're here because they invented what they invented, and shout out to the OG MetaMask boys. They did something awesome, but it's no longer true crypto. And so I guess the main reason someone would want to use internet money is that we embody the crypto ideals as much as they are able to be embodied with crypto software. And if you're a PulseChain person, or let's just say you're a person out there on Ethereum, Binance, or Moonriver, I don't know, some weird EVM chain, we have prices for all of that. And that is important to know that your money is real.
Facts. Yo, you're crushing it. And
Thanks,
this user, Groover, has said, I think I can speak for all learned people in saying that MetaMask is corrupt and must be dispensed of by all who care. Just don't delete it before you write down your seed phrase and all that,
Yes. Yeah. Please. Yes.
Don't dispense too hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know him, and I say that as a joke because he'll be fine. But
that's a good.
This is a war in the sense of I like what you said about the money does have value, and yeah, we should be able to see the price. MetaMask is screwing up in a lot of ways, and they still haven't given me my airdrop.
Yeah, give me Mask though. Yeah, that's another thing. MetaMask
didn't give it to anybody.
their in-app swap is more expensive than ours, and they keep 100% of that fee. Ours is less expensive, and we distribute 100% of that fee. So there's another one.
Yeah.
And you know, another thing too. Now, this isn't someone who already knows MetaMask wouldn't necessarily switch over to MetaMask for this. But if you think about in terms of stickiness for someone trying to approach crypto, what resonates more with them? A fox, the symbol of the thief, and MetaMask that literally doesn't say anything in relation to what it does, or internet money wallet with a coin that literally denotes currency. It like I believe that the brand, and it's already proven itself sticky. I mean, we're over 28,000 downloads now, and that's not all PulseChain people. I have seen people in this chat say, "Oh, why is everybody just targeting Hex against?" No, it's we have people from all different types of EVM communities. So we are already a multi-chain product, onboarding people into crypto and onboarding other crypto people into PulseChain. And a lot of the reason is, well, not a lot of the reason, but a reason at the very least, is that our branding immediately tells people what we do. People don't have to guess. What does it? We are a wallet for internet money. That's what.
Well, I think you did
this
a
whole
good
thing
job
is.
there. And yeah, discriminating against thieves is okay on this channel. For sure. We
Thank
you
you.
know, like good point about foxes. They are do have a habit of stealing.
Symbol of the thief.
Woohoo.
Somebody in the chat is asking like, "Oh, what token are we pumping now?" The thumbnail is referencing that there was a launch today of, I think, a multi-million-dollar SAC. The last one, so that's cool. We're celebrating that there's no more value that's been like, dumped somewhere and then put into a time freeze, where then it, the hex price is so much lower than when people put their value in. Yeah, so Power City launched today, and they have their token Watt, WATT. So we aren't really covering it super hard in this stream, just because there's a lot of other important stuff that we can talk about. And I mean, with liquid loans, it seems like even to get the full story, you had to keep watching for a few days. So, that's kind of how it goes here, where if something's breaking and we know a lot about it, then we can speak to it. I guess I probably should have said earlier in the stream that if you did sacrifice for Power City, you can claim your Watt token. I guess it's in the form of an NFT, kind of like a Hedron staking instance. It's like got tokens built into an NFT. Pretty novel. And I guess you need to make sure with all this stuff, if you're claiming something, that you claim it from the official source, and you don't get a token address from the wrong place. So I guess powercity.io is I think where I went to claim mine. I had a small amount. And for a lot of this stuff, it's regrettable to have sacrificed, because you can buy a better price now. I think has been the case for almost every. I guess PulseChain did a 3.5x off the bat. PulseX did a 1.5x off the bat. That was like sustained, where anybody could get it. Other than that, I think lots of sacrifices have been down only. I think Love.io is one of the only ones that is above SAC price, I believe. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong on that. But in general, sacrificing has been And, even if you look at Pulse and PulseX, there has now been, the majority of the time that those tokens have been trading where they've been, it was a better deal to wait than to sacrifice in terms of buying. But yeah, I mean, maybe Crispy has an opinion on all that.
Internet money
Time
is
is
above
above.
sacrifice.
Oh, well done.
Or time.
Good job,
time
guys.
token. Yep, thanks.
Is it time yet?
It's always time.
There's always time for time. I didn't.
Oh yeah, sacrificing has been a sacrifice, so that's an important point too.
But
Sacrificing
it's part of
is
part of the process,
what
though, right?
you mean it when you sacrifice, and it's not a joke. And so, if we look at it in reality, we got a bunch of tokens for free, and so we're up infinitely, even on the things where we sacrificed more than the value of what it is now, because it's not a trade. It wasn't an investment. It was a sacrifice. So that's a super important point that I forgot to mention here.
Nothing is down. Everything's up.
From zero. Correct.
Yeah.
Crispy, sorry, go ahead. I wanted to.
I kind of forget what I was going to say. Yeah, I think with the sacrifices, sure, but you could make that argument that they, price volatility, got to find a bottom. For some of us who did HEX, I did get multiples on the HEX that I have set aside. So for me, it was okay, but I can understand, it's down. I mean, I would much rather have higher Pulse prices, PulseX prices, HEX prices, right? But as far as SACs, I mean, I did experiment a little bit with, with liquid loans. I didn't go into anything else. So, I mean, besides the other, so I didn't get into, I didn't do anything for internet money, which shouldn't sound funny because that's what I was getting at before. Just don't, there's just so many things going on. I wasn't involved with everything,
How dare you?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I don't. I still support good projects doing good things, on the chain. So, 100% just didn't do a SAC. So I might have dodged the bullet. I don't know. And then I didn't go into Power City either, even though I know a ton of those people, right, that are part of that project. I just ran out of steam myself,
Yeah.
They called
but
that.
I'll be ready.
They called that SAC fatigue, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. My SACs were fatigued.
It's
real. So I just couldn't refill fast enough. Family show, Maddie. Keep it that way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll be ready again in 2025 for more stuff. We'll call them scazzes or something. We'll come up with a different name.
Or call it a flush. Yeah.
Yeah, flush. So he's got a flush. Well, it's been an interesting experiment that'll play out for some time here yet. So what's your point about the SACs and that? I mean, there's been a theme this week, right? People talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's on the thumbnail, so it's definitely something we usually just want to touch on. And I guess I brought it up from the chat probably because I felt bad that I didn't give those details earlier of like, remember, like go to the official source and all that good kind of stuff. I think the NFT trend is interesting game theory where like you have tokens that are earning yield that's built into an NFT. We saw the first instance of that, I believe, in crypto history that was created by the Hedron founder, Alex McWhorter, who's been on the show. And yeah, I mean, that was the most successful airdrop in terms of value to TShares holders as well. And so, of course, I wasn't a big fan of being able to move your HEX stakes around and still earn yield. But
you don't say.
this idea. Oh, I do. I haven't
But I
apologized
think,
for it, but
and Maddie, everybody knows. We're all on board. We got it. You know.
I don't mind. You know, it's not completely reopening the wound, because the whole idea was, what's the point of HEX? Is it to earn yield, or is it to pay your future self, or both? And you know, being able to sell your future at any time is it's a different, it's behaviorally different, even if the blockchain doesn't care. So I think it's quite interesting that other other projects and products are starting to use NFTs for more, more legitimate things than just a picture. Like, you can build tokenomics into it, you can build game theory into it. So that's kind of cool.
NFTs are pretty dang cool. You can do a lot of cool things with NFTs, like you're saying. And I think we're only going to see that become more and more a part of the game theory of things.
Sure. I think you're right about that. We're getting close to, getting really close to some sort of crossover, jumping the shark. I mean, for us in crypto, we already think that crypto is real life, right? But all those other people run around on that giant beach ball that Johnny Chaos runs around with, they don't know that crypto is real yet. And there's got to be some sort of bridging of crypto. Yes, I mean, I think we're getting really close. I mean, geez, I can send value 10 different ways now, and through crypto and back, but it's just not quite there. So I think you're right. I think we're going to start seeing some real stuff. Either we're all going to become more digital, and therefore crypto makes more sense, or crypto is going to become more real life. Or maybe it's the two of them.
Flip
And I
it.
think, yeah, but I think we've talked about this before, Maddie. Like the simple application of titles for cars, or titles for houses, and that type of stuff. I mean, the type of red tape and middlemen that are involved in that, with a fee every time somebody sells a house, right? Over and over and over again. When at some point somebody ought to be able to do the research once and lock it in if they could trust it. If they could trust it. Eliminate the friction, and then that whole, unfortunately for all those people in that industry, that sucks. But NFTs could take the place of a lot of them, as an example. But,
it's interesting you bring that up, Crispy, because I actually am in that industry too. I've been a licensed realtor in my state for 7 years now. And so I've last year and a half, 2 years or so, I've made a transition to crypto. I'm still licensed, but I do crypto 98% of the time. I transitioned to just helping family and friends. The point being is that I am seeing these types of discussions, and I'm actually the instigator of a lot of these discussions in my real estate spheres, of like trying to get my fellow realtors and other brokerages to understand that there is a place for crypto. I'm even starting to try to get people under the mindset of like, you can sell your house for crypto, right? We're kind of far away in the, like, coming from the actual real estate perspective, from people saying, oh yeah, I'm going to put my title or my deed on a house on the blockchain. Or like one thing I'm trying to like talk to landlords and stuff about is putting their lease agreements on NFTs. And that's actually good for the tenants, because if you want to get like subtenants, you can just transfer the NFT, right? So anyways, so in the real estate sphere, I am trying to instigate those discussions as well. And every time I'm working with the client, I'm always telling them, hey, look, if you open yourself up to the crypto market, it's basically free marketing, because crypto people are fanatical about crypto. And then of course I'm like, hey, look, there's this blockchain called PulseChain. You'll get a lot of retweets and likes and shares, and so I am trying to bring this to the real world as well. So I hear you on that, and it's interesting to see.
it's going to be sweet when it happens. When it probably happened both, many different ways. We'll see the crossovers, but yeah, it's going to be neat to watch because right now it's hard to imagine, that would be the case. Like, technology changes stuff, man. Every big revolution in terms of information technology just changed the economy drastically over the last 200 years or so. I mean, every time something new came up, and I don't think this is any different. Crypto in this way, it could end up being very, very revolutionary.
Where
mean, who
where do
would've-
I have to move to get hooked up with a house? KG.
Texas.
All right.
I'm
It's logged. It's
I'm
logged.
only licensed in Texas, so I've thought about pursuing my license in other states, but well, I'm focusing on crypto right, now full time.
Good place to focus.
Oh yeah, I love doing real estate, but I'm definitely I love crypto a lot more.
Hmm.
Whenever it became that I can do this full time, it didn't take long to say, yeah, because it started that crypto started to get so busy that I couldn't fully service my real estate clients like I needed to anymore. And then it became this wean off of, well, okay, we're doing this. We're in crypto now. We're in crypto more. We're in crypto more. Okay. Now all of a sudden, and that's, it's an idea I like to talk about of calling it download your future, where you can see the future reality you want to live in. And it takes time to get there. It has to load. And depending on your hard work, discipline, focus, faith in that vision, the faster your internet speed is, and the faster you can actually download that reality as your current reality. And so I watched myself download my future from real estate to crypto in real time. And that was really cool. And it's possible for everybody else too. I know that might sound cliche and cheesy, but it 100% is.
Well, congrats and well done. And that is a great example for anybody else that has a dream for building their future in a better way.
100%.
Very cool.
Takes time.
Speaking of, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm hoping to move back the other way, get into more real estate. But we'll see. Let's come on, bull run. Let's go.
You can only live in one house at once,
That is true.
Crispy wants to have 300 tenants on the roll, don't you, Crispy?
Oh, man. I'll do a REIT or something, man. I don't need to do that. A syndication deal might not be bad.
The Grant and Gary Cardone, something that they talk about a lot is like buying apartment complexes.
Yeah,
and
what a terrible idea.
Well, you have one property.
They're a cash cow, man. Cash cow. Yeah. If you get the right location, then it's the right place. Yeah.
Yeah, if you time the market perfectly, and then there aren't any laws that say that people don't have to pay you,
yeah, well, that
give me the infinite list of how the universe has to line up to where like renting to people is a good deal.
I've talked a lot with landlords, and I actually, for about 2 years, I worked at this foreclosure auction as like just a part of what I was doing in real estate. And so I would talk to a lot of landlords who would have hundreds of properties. And what I realized is that being a landlord is not profitable unless you're doing it at scale. Because at scale, then it's like you're always making enough money to where if something happens, inevitably will happen when something happens at one of your properties, you've made enough income that month to offset the losses. But if you're someone that's like, yeah, I have 3 properties, that you're making maybe on a year-to-year basis, I mean, depending on your area, but let's say in my local area, I don't know, like $3,000 a year net after taxes and maintenance and all these things. Like, so you worked all year, had anxiety about having tenants and all the headaches for $3,000 a year. I mean, it's like, I'm not shaking a stick at $3,000, but I mean, to work a whole year for $3,000, that's like, why? You can make more money spending that time and energy somewhere else. Now, then they would say, oh, well, you have the equity in the house as the market goes up over time, because the real estate market has historically always gone up and to the right. Even if it's dipped, it goes up and to the right. And if the real estate market fails and doesn't recover, well, grab your cigarettes and your water bottles, because that's the new
dollar
currency.
went down.
Exactly.
But
you're wrecked.
Not because, So, I mean, it just seems like a lot of people who are into real estate, they want to sell you a course on how to get other people into real estate.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you become a broker, you get in the business of wanting agents under you, but now like these new age brokerages like EXP Realty, I think is one, where they actually do some crazy stuff. Mark my words, EXP is going to be the first brokerage that plays with crypto, because their entire office is in the metaverse. Like they built their own metaverse, and all the realtors and agents meet in there for meetings. And if you need like contract help, like it's all in the metaverse. But point being is they have this like pyramid or multi-level marketing scheme, basically, where if you get agents in under you, you get portions of their commission. And if they get people in, it's an MLM. That's not my brokerage, but we are seeing that out there. So that is becoming, I think, more of the ethos is making non-brokers brokers in a way.
I don't particularly want to die on this hill that like real estate is a bad deal. So I'll bow out of this at this point. But but it is really cool that you transitioned to your dream job of working in crypto, and you're building something that so many people are proud of. Props to you on that. I too have been building something that I think people will be proud of with the HEX Conference. I saw somebody asking about it earlier in the chat, so it's too far back to find, but I'll go ahead and answer now. They were asking, are there any updates or announcements or surprises? And last week when you saw me on the show, I was teasing people, or starting to, that there were like 2 or 3 big surprises this year that are different than previous years. Of course, you still get the same awesome stuff you got in previous years in terms of the lineup and everything being 4 days long. You have 4 nights, January 6th through 9th, same days, same times, 6 hours of streaming in American primetime evening. So starting from 6 p.m. Central and going till midnight. You have hour-long segments where there could be 1 person, 2 people, 4 people, or 9 people on screen at a time. And it gets mixed up in socials and informational panels, tutorials, speeches, all kinds of stuff, keynotes. And so all of that will remain the same. One of the announcements did get dropped in the past week. And this is, I think, probably one of my top 3 most viewed posts of all time out of my 3.5 years on X. I dropped this video that got 43,000 views.
Wow.
Or impressions here, showcasing how AI is lip syncing, translating here. And you probably can't hear the sound there, but the video shows me speaking Italian, and people who speak Italian say it's pretty good. You can see Fashion Coder speaking Swedish, Johnny Chaos speaking Mandarin, Richard Hart speaking Portuguese, and it's almost indistinguishable from the tone. It's my voice speaking a language that I don't speak. And so people were really excited that I had this breakthrough, and that the technology that I found to do this. And I said, because there's so much support this year for me going bigger and better than before, I'm willing to basically do this for part or all of the Hex Conference, to translate it into other languages, which is where lots of people are that we haven't reached yet. If you look at the number of Ethereum Genesis whales that are speaking English as their first language, it's not all of them, right? So in order for Hex and PulseChain to do super well, I think us having the best community in crypto is part of that. But it never hurts to throw in a couple more Ethereum Genesis whales that are buying the shit out of Hex and PulseChain, right? So
Never.
So having everything, or select portions translated to Korean, to Mandarin, to lots of different languages, I think it's going to be really exciting for people. And it seems like the responses that I got from the tweet were overwhelmingly positive, with K4K asking if, maybe this is the way that Hex goes viral. Johnny Chaos making a list of all the biggest moments in Hex history and putting this on the list as well. And so it's really exciting for me to be so excited. I'm so excited about this, thinking that people will like it. And it turns out that, it's a good idea to translate. This is what Mr. Beast does. He translates into other languages seamlessly. And that's why he's the most watched person in the world, I guess, on YouTube and in general. So, so that's one of like the 2 or 3 super exciting announcements that are going to be happening for the Hex Conference. And I'm really thinking that we will get another surprise this week. So I can't say what it is yet, but I should have everything in place in the next probably 2 or 3 days to be able to make the next big announcement. So stay tuned for that.
You're always bringing the heat, Matty. You're always bringing the heat.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, and this community deserves to go viral and to bring the message of paying your future self to more people. I really believe in what we're doing here.
I love this video technology, man. I don't know if you realize this. Sometimes people bring it up. So I'm very hard of hearing now. So I actually need to be wearing hearing aids. I haven't gone and bought any. So I read lips even on videos. And so the thing was amazing. I'm watching the lips move, and just the fact that matches up. So let's see. I don't know if it could be as spectacular as your multi-participant videos and videos in multiple languages. I mean, what else could you have in store for us?
Well, I accept the challenge. You're saying you don't know what could be another surprise that's on par, and I accept the challenge.
Okay. Maybe I'll go the other way and say that you can't do any better than this.
I think that different people will be more and less excited by different surprises, but I'm very confident in the fact that I think the next one's going to be better.
Well, dude, this is really, really, really cool, and I think it is a genius move, because
thank you.
You're totally right. Even though English might be one of the more widespread languages, how can this hurt? It can only stand to help, especially if we can generate all this content. Man, maybe it even evolves into, and maybe we already have it, like language-focused telegrams, language-focused Twitters that only share this content. Maybe a YouTube that is, maybe you have 5 YouTubes, Maddie. Maybe you have an Italian, a Mandarin, a Spanish YouTube, and you just take all the videos that you're already doing. And, this is a really good idea. I can see exactly what you're doing this, and kudos. Truly.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, this is still a pretty expensive technology, but I'm
Oh, I
still
see.
gonna, I'm still gonna make it happen. And the way that it stands, I think, for this conference coming up is that if you are somebody who wants to choose to participate in the lip syncing translation, that at the end of each hour we will have a 1-minute spot for each person who's been on screen, and you can say your message to the world, being like the one person on screen, because it performs better when there's only one person on screen at a time. So it knows whose lips to move, and if people are talking over each other, it'll get confused. Now, a year or two from now, it'll,
Of course.
we'll all be flying through space.
Read your
or
mind.
whatever. Yeah, it'll read your mind and
Where did I put that?
give you hex right away. But for now, yeah, this is where it stands, and it might be a better way to organize it anyway. So people, if they don't want to be translated, then they could just not participate in the last few minutes of each hour. But this way, I think everybody will get a chance to be translated if you want to.
Yep.
Very cool, man.
Yeah,
It's getting there, baby. Soon. This is a good start. Maddie gave me a little heads up in advance, so I was able to look at the websites and some of the options out there. My particular leaning is to go towards Korea, because I know people in Korea and I work with people in Korea on a regular basis, but I don't speak Korean, right? But the idea is, like you're saying, KG, I'm not sure that I should set up a Korean, YouTube channel, but that's a possibility, right?
Even if it's just to, collect all the content in one place. Hey, you want to know about it? YouTube.com/Hex Korea. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. This is Avatar, Maddie Allen. Right? Is that what this one is?
No, not this one. This is still
This is
the
a real
language
one?
translation
Look.
model. This is the Korean that I just pulled up. But the other thing that what was the other? Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to say is that Anders from Love.io, who was our guest a couple weeks ago, and we'll have him on again, like maybe near the end of the month. He actually has a huge distribution network of content creators in Asian countries.
He does.
And I haven't like necessarily proposed this to him yet, but I imagine that it would be people like him in our community who already have a lot of social capital in other countries that might be the best people to distribute the content, at least initially. I'm talking like, the first couple days after the conference. And then, I might have more time to build up to build up channels and libraries, because I think if I put it out on English speaking channels, it'll just hurt the channel. And it won't get seen by the right target audience. So, Mr. Beast, he already figured this out too, that like KG said, you have to create a new channel for each language and that sort of thing. But it's exciting times that we live in, and hopefully this will be used for good.
Oh, dude, this is science fiction. This is what I mean about jumping the shark. So this is science fiction 5 years ago for most people. For most people, it's like, yeah, someday I saw a movie. It was cool that they did that, But now it's a reality. I just got invited to pay for Chat GPT-4. So now, yeah, but this stuff's changing fast. Maybe 5 years from now, this is all free.
Totally,
Well,
totally.
Because technology evolves exponentially. So as it gets more advanced, it's able to get more advanced faster. So, 2023 years led us to what Maddie just showed us. It's going to take less than 100 years to splatter our minds on the walls. You know, I mean, well, more than 2023 years. You know, humans have been around for 10,000 years, 100,000 years, million years, whatever. But point being is that it took all that time to get here. It's not even going to take a fraction of that time to get well beyond here. Where this
The
point
way
is.
that I like to put it is we're still basically in the primordial ooze phase, and the future's bright.
Future is bright.
So yeah. So definitely stay tuned for the further announcements and participation opportunities. I've been working nonstop on it, and I'm excited to share it later this week. Let's see, is there anything else about the Hex Conference? No, stay tuned for that. We do have a super chat here from Don. And
Well,
Crispy
before we get to that,
Sure.
can I mention how
Please.
Internet Money has the opportunity to buy and burn Hex? I just want to bring that up.
Oh, that's what the super chat was having to do with.
Oh,
Thanks for the $20
No.
super chat, Don. And Crispy already read it, so it says
no,
here.
read it. Maddie?
Did you know that every swap in the Internet Money wallet buys and burns Hex?
That is a statement of fact. And that is possible going back to we are the best place to swap on PulseChain and an amazing place to swap on Ethereum. And again, 100% of the fees that our wallet generates get distributed to time holders. We have invented a smart contract that holds time and earns some of the revenue from the wallet and uses that revenue to buy Hex off the open market and burn it. So the Internet Money wallet, it does that for time itself. It buys and burns time. It also buys and burns Hex. So
what does it do with the Hex?
Because Hex cannot be burned, by burned I mean deleted, unless you stake it. We have set it up to send the Hex to the dead address. Mm-hmm. So it's not. So this is actually a game theory, gang. All right, here we go. Let's get cool with it.
All right, let's go.
So buying and burning is great. We know this because it puts green candles on the chart. Those candles can never be red candles because those tokens cannot enter back into circulation. And now in Hex's case, it sends these tokens to the dead address. If those out there listening don't know what the dead address is, it's an address that is literally all zeros and ends in the word dead. And nobody has keys to this address. You can see there's thousands of
except on keys.lol, but nobody's found them yet.
Okay, maybe keys.lol has the keys to the dead address. Okay, all right. Barring keys.lol, no human being has discovered these keys to the dead address. And so thousands of projects actually use this address to burn tokens. Now, so in our system, Hex gets bought, sent to this dead address by an immutable smart contract with no admin keys, public call functions. You can actually see it if you go to app.internetmoney.io. That's where it is. Now, why this gets super cool for Hex is, okay, so as the wallet grows and people are swapping on Ethereum and PulseChain, regardless of what token they're buying, it doesn't matter, buying or selling, Hex is being bought and burned, being sent to the dead address. Now, we all know how Hex staking works, right? The yield is paid out based upon the inflation that is calculated based upon the total supply, right? So now this dead address is still, even though it is burned off the market, can never re-enter, is still calculated in the rewards that get paid to stakers. So green candles that can never become red candles and work towards giving stakers higher yield for staking Hex, because it can never be staked, it can never be sold.
That is accurate.
Game theory gang, baby.
Go. Yeah, those payouts, man, they're going up and to the right. Whew.
You know, and it becomes an organic growth, because as more people decide to deposit a certain amount of time, into that smart contract, well, then the buy pressure will go up. KG, you should have led with that. Sorry. There's a lot of amazing things we're doing over here. But as that, so you'll have one pressure from more time being in there. We also have more pressure as we do more volume within the wallet. And, right now, the dividends that our wallet generates and that are being paid to time holders is only from in-app swapping. But on the roadmap, we have more features like in-app bridging. We want to monetize like an NFT marketplace somehow. We want to continue to find ways to increase the streams of revenue to time holders. And hey, if you're a project out there and you're looking to tap into an existing user base of, I think we have 3,000-ish holders of time on PulseChain. That's our biggest holder set. If you point some portion of your revenue to time, which you absolutely can do, you're going to get an instant user base. So if you're a project out there looking for an instant user base, consider pointing some of your revenue to time as well.
Right on. Cool tokenomics there.
Thanks. If you want to buy and burn Hex, swap in the Internet Money wallet, and you're going to get the best deal anyway. So it's a win-win-win for the ecosystem.
Cool. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Man, we love Hex.
Thank you for your service. Yeah.
We
So
actually,
why do you like Hex so much? It seems like you're just doing a solid for another token that you didn't create. What's so special about Hex?
Well, there are obviously social benefits, of course, to support the community that supported us, right? And I say the community, we are also a part of that community, right? A lot of people don't know. Well, I mean, I've said it on stream. My first Hex buy was between 2 and 3 cents the first time on the way up. So we've been in Hex for years now. We were a part of the PulseChain sacrifice, literally spending hours and hours a day in the PulseChain Telegram room. I've been an admin in all of the Richard Hart telegrams. I'm still a admin or a moderator on all the Reddits. So we're not like, yes, this community supported us and our vision, and people can think it's corny, whatever, but we're giving back because we came from this community. We would not be who we were without this community. So it only makes sense that we support this community in everything we do.
Right on.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Oh, listen, I wear the Hex hat all the time, and I think that for me, mining of Hex is the only thing I ever knew, right? But that's a little little self-centered and kind of misses the point that I also need all this infrastructure like PulseChain, like people operating on PulseChain. We quite often talk about this here about how you need speculators, you need people who want to swing trade, you need builders and all that. So hats off to everybody who's building, including you guys. And I know that you've been around for a long time now. As Hex has been coming up, and yeah. I mean, you get it. I mean, we can't. I won't try to take that away from people for the hard work that they've done. I think, but I understand the maxiness of it because I feel it.
Well, thank you, Crispy, for the acknowledgement and appreciation. And look, man, if you're a Hex maxi, that's fine. If you're only buying Hex, okay, well, then just make sure to do that in the Internet Money wallet.
There you go, baby.
Because you're getting the best trade, indisputably. B, you're buying and burning Hex when you buy Hex. So even if you're a Hex maxi, and if you talk about the Internet Money wallet, when other people are out there degenning or getting into their products or whatever, Hex is still being bought and burned. So it
100% there.
Hex maxi should love Internet Money wallet, and Hex is preloaded with a logo. So is PulseX and Pulse and Ink.
Nice. I'm trying not to hijack the topic and start talking about Hex and payouts because I am super bullish on that right now.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Go on.
Man. Well, you were on my stream today, or did you leave? Did you stay? You stay
No,
for my
man.
stream?
No, I didn't. No, I was doing all this freaking conference stuff. I didn't even get to listen to that yet. Although I will
I
be listening to it tonight.
I was talking to you on there. I thought you were answering me too, but sorry. Um, on the stream that I did. No, what I was getting
I
at,
was the
Casey,
first
right?
one to comment.
You were. You know, knowing about Hex and how it operates, base payouts, right? All right, let's just take one step back. Most people understand that the way compound interest in Hex is simulated is by the fact that we have this T-share system. And because the T-share system's in place this way, it has created a trend where the count of T-shares go down, but the number, you know, that the amount of Hex it costs you to get T-shares goes up, and payouts go up into the right. So for the time being, anyways, payouts are always going to go up into the right, and so is the T-share rate, and then we can conclude that the shares are going to go down, right, in quantity, and it's just a function of the system. Yes, we as users could change it by significant adoption, right? We would have to come in and really put some value behind it. We could change it, but right now those are the trends, and so I'm very conservative, right? And what I was getting at on the stream I did today is, yeah, I've been looking at the numbers because I do such a conservative approach to it. I'm looking out and saying, okay, if I apply what I've seen happen so far and I apply it into the future, we're going to go from 6.5 to 11 hex per T share over the next 15 years, right? And I think I'm severely limiting my options if I take action based on that, because I think that what I'm seeing is that more and more situations are occurring that effectively lock hex up forever, and on both the chains. And this is where it comes back to what you're talking about with internet money, and that's escalating so quickly that I think my conservative estimate needs to be doubled to be my conservative
Wow.
estimate. That's how, and not that it'll double today, but that over, you know, instead of going to 11 in 15 years, maybe my target's more like 22. Now, why is that important? Well, I use my conservative approach to help me with decision making, right? To create actionable types of insights. And if it's too low, it leads me astray and I may not take certain actions. And so I find that revisiting this is pretty important right now. Um, and I don't want to become the next poster boy for Quattro Cinco, but I'm really like, man, looking at the numbers and what's going on out there, Quattro Cincos make so much sense right now, risk adjusted for your person's portfolio. But it just makes so much sense right now if you plan to be in this ecosystem in 15 years. But so I've been opening up to that because I'm like, man, they're just, you know, nobody's getting them out in 2038 and 39 right now, or a very
So,
small number.
so if I understood that correctly, the internet money Hex buy and burn made Crispy so bullish that he had
That's
to
right.
2x his conservative estimate.
That's right. Not only that, I went back in time and did a video earlier today on it. that's how excited I was, vibrating in my seat, man. I took that frequency train back.
Perfect. God,
Yeah,
so bullish
yeah,
he can
that's a
transcend
good way.
time, space.
Well, yeah, I think that there's a lot going on in Hex that suggests that the compound interest is going to be pretty sweet. It's paid in Hex and becomes a force multiplier on your true yield once you calculate in the price of Hex and how much more you get paid for longer pays better. So very cool to hear from ChrispyMan about all this and his expectations, because he is the leading data analyst for the Hex ecosystem, basically showing the future market supply and what it means, and making models that, it was when we started this show, we were dreaming that someday somebody like ChrispyMan would come along and give us the analytics that we were craving for. So actually, the name of the show is Quant Gang
It
because
is.
we
It
were
is.
so obsessed with the quantitative analysis of
Mm.
Hex. So, of course, game theory is also important.
It's super
But
important.
cool.
Yeah, I go off on big tangents on Hex there, Maddie, as you know, and not even
I
tangents, just
dig
talk
it.
about this, 4 or 5 hours a day, 12 hours a day, whatever it takes, man.
I dig
One
it.
thing though, remember I was joking about the blockchain going to paper earlier. I made that side joke about you
Oh,
guys said. What if there was an
that was a good
EMP? And
point.
I said, well, we'll do the contracts on paper, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, in my continuing studies of CD ladders, technically with banks, they they are doing paper contracts. So in the terms of Hex, you want to compare them to CDs. Another way to look at that is when I'm working with a bank or a credit union, they have a paper system where they determine and set rates based on whatever's happening within their economic environment, their financial environment. And Hex just duplicates that whole thing, just with a piece of code that's trustless.
And yeah, it's borderless and isn't run by the government. So those are all like important features.
The most
Yeah,
important
well,
features, arguably.
I think that there are more topics we could have gotten into if we weren't talking about all the important topics that we did get to tonight. I know the show is starting to wrap up here, and I guess we could do a speed round, or just a extremely brief update on. Apparently, there's talk on Twitter about what's going on with the SEC and Richard Hart. I'll leave you all to do your own research on that. And if you want to be more efficient at that, you might try using the AI assistant that's available on Twitter now for premium users. Might be available to more people, maybe even pro users as well at some point this week. But I've found that that's a really powerful tool for doing research, and you could try to make sense of it all. Bottom line, though, is that the Hex smart contract, it hasn't changed and it's not going to change. And the community seems to be stuck on, continuing to use our free speech and all those good kinds of things to talk about Hex and be able to teach people about it. So that's pretty cool. And we always wish Richard the best. And I personally have faith that he's doing what's best for himself and for the world in general. And then I think that another topic that people would have wanted to speculate on was whether Richard is going to release a wallet. Do you have any statements on that, KG? We didn't touch on.
So we actually announced that we were building a wallet before Richard ever announced that he was building the wallet. And so this is actually a question that we've been getting since the very beginning. And the answer remains the same. If Richard builds a wallet, well, it's fine, because crypto is not a one wallet industry. There will be people that want to use our wallet. There will be people that want to use Richard's wallet. At this moment in time, I don't think Richard is actively working on the wallet. I think he has bigger fish to fry at this moment in time. That's pure speculation. I have nothing to back that up other than speculation. But he's focusing on other things, I think, right now. And so if it happens, great. We'll see it then. But until now, Internet Money Wallet is the only wallet in existence on Android, iOS, and Chrome, optimized and dedicated to PulseChain.
Right on. Very cool. And Don, another $20 super chat. Thank you for your support. Says, I truly appreciate all the work you're putting in for the community. I met you over 2 years ago at the HEX Conference in Albany, where scammer Tony ate all my chicken wings. Keep up the good work,
Ouch.
brother.
I've got a chart for that.
Right on. Yeah, thanks for the support. Cool. Yeah. Beware of beware of scammers. And let's see. Where can everybody find you guys?
Crispy, go ahead.
Yeah, I got jammed up here for a second. Everything froze. You guys can find me at hexfire.io, the website, or here. Come over here to YouTube and sign up. We're trying to get to 2,000 people. I don't want to have to do the dad joke thing, but I may have to pull that back out. Just start telling dad jokes until I get 2,000. That worked pretty good last time on Twitter. But hexfire.io here on both the Twitter X space and here in YouTube.
And for myself, you can internetmoney.io is where I'm going to direct everybody. And if you want to get in touch with me, engage with us on our Telegram, on our Twitter, and you will 100% run into me. So internetmoney.io has the links to our community, to download the wallet, which is the best place to swap on PulseChain. I'm going to keep saying that. It is the best place to swap on PulseChain. internetmoney.io, Android, iOS, and Chrome.
Right on. If you're gonna follow something, follow Hex Conference on Twitter. That has like a super low number of followers. But thousands of people go to the website, hexconference.com, so you can find all the details there as well. Let's see. I think we had a great episode tonight, and so we have 150 people watching live. We got up to 200 live and thousands on the replay. So go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button here. I did something. We were gonna have CC from Liquid Loans on the show tonight, and then there was a scheduling conflict. So him and I got together and just recorded like a 7-minute teaser for the episode that we're going to do next week. So that's a little bit different than we normally do, but I'm going to go ahead and play that pre-recorded part now so that you guys can see what's coming up next. And then I'll cut off the stream at that point. So thanks again for KG for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And I think the community is really excited about what you're building. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Crispy. Thank you for everything both of you do. Excited for the HEX conference and excited to see those surprises. So thanks again for having me on and allowing me to talk about what we're doing. The best place to swap on PulseChain.
Absolutely.
Wag me.
And we're pre-recording. Welcome. So today we're doing a little preview of the next week's episode on Game Theory Gang, and I have Crypto Crazy here, CEO and co-founder of Liquid Loans. How's it going?
Yeah, good, Matty. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, look, there's so much to be excited about in the game theory of Liquid Loans. I figured we should give people a week's worth of heads up that we're going to be discussing that very deeply next week.
I think, obviously there's a lot in the protocol itself. As you know, Matty, the basics are the basics, but there's a lot more nuances there. And people, once they sort of scratch the surface, you'll start to realize, hey, there's some real opportunities here. And so, very excited that for that particular episode, I think that'll be a really, really exciting sort of discussion.
Well, and I saw your interview with Hex Token that you just did, and you guys really went deep on some of the game theory issues that I want to learn more about. And so, I think the whole gang is going to be really excited to go deep on all of those topics that you started to explore with Hex Token.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot there. Obviously, we're really pleased with where we're at with the protocol itself. There's a bit more liquidity coming in, which we're also very happy about. And again, it's a community protocol, and people are starting to take advantage of that, and we're really happy about that, given the journey we've had to get to that point. So excited about this next stream. I think that's going to be quite telling, and for those that want to dig in a little bit deeper, I think it'll be a really good stream.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to have you on with the whole gang and to dive into the game theory of everything. I'm also excited to have you guys to have Liquid Loans and your kind of associated brands be recognized this year at the HEX Conference.
Yeah, Matty, I should say we're really happy to support the HEX Conference, support all the effort that you put in. I know last year was quite a challenging year for you. We weren't ready. Obviously, we hadn't deployed anything at that point, but now that we've deployed on PulseChain, I think both Scottish Dave and I are Hexicans as well as obviously Pulsicans, and we're very happy to provide support to the community. We feel that we've earned our stripes now, and we're very happy to provide that support. And I think that our focus primarily all the way through, and I hope this comes through quite strongly when people come to look at liquid loans, is that we're all about education. So educate the community. As you know, we've got a quiz on the front end as well, so people can learn a bit more about how to use the DApp, how to use the protocol, how to take advantage of the protocol itself. There's plenty of educational content, and as you know, there's also a prize that we're giving out for people that are prepared to sort of help partly educate themselves, but at the same time help to promote people using liquid loans.
Yeah, that seems like a fun challenge. It's what a billion Pulse giveaway.
Just don't win it.
Yeah, of course. Don't want to be like RG3 and push my luck with the community.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. We're very excited to provide support to the conference. It's, I know that you go to a lot of effort with these things. So Matty, thank you very much for doing that. But we're really excited about supporting the conference, and we're looking forward to it. So thank you very much.
Well, yeah, there's going to be one brand each day that gets recognized as supporting the conference. And so I'm really excited that day one is going to be Liquid Loans.
Fantastic.
And it's going to be historic this year. There are a couple surprises that I still haven't told the community about, things that again are going to continue in this line of Hex and PulseChain products making history. And so
Matty, I think some of that stuff, and I think if I'm thinking about what you've shared, a little bit of a sneak peek, I think it's going to be very exciting. The other thing I wanted to point out is that, and we don't want to get too into the weeds with this, but we kind of know that ultimately the success of PulseChain is dependent on the community, right? So developers, everyone that's involved in PulseChain should be getting behind the chain itself and doing everything possible to actually help promote and bring attention to the chain itself, because that's how we'll all be successful. That's how we'll win.
And that's how I see it too with USDL, and how I think that, frankly, a lot of whales are going to see it. I thought it was kind of funny that you made this comment, like on Hex Token stream. Oh, you hope Richard is going to use it. I mean, I've only seen one Twitter post that he's made about it, and it was kind of like him typing, "Duh, that's what rich people do."
It is something that we kind of know that, look, ultimately, people will take advantage of the protocol because it makes a lot of sense to do that. And it was a tongue-in-cheek comment, but it'd be nice to know if he has, and it would also be very nice for the community to participate in using liquid loans for what it was really intended for.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, I'm really excited for people getting to hear tonight, and build their excitement over the next week about the deep dive we're going to do. People can leave a comment in the description below if you have any questions for the interview that we're going to be doing next week. And again, I want to thank you for making yourself available to come on the channel, because just like I think I had somebody from Liquid Loans on over a year ago. We want to keep people up to date with what's happening in these major advancements.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity, Matty, and definitely very, very happy to support the work that you're doing to help promote HEX and promote PulseChain. And, you know, we are members of the community, so very happy to provide that support and help educate. So thank you very much.
Awesome. We're gonna broadcast and make history.
Fantastic. Well done. Thank you, mate.
Thank you. Awesome. So thank you for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to follow all the people in the links in the description below. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.